coders, and welcome to Source Code Codes. In this second episode in the series on how to build a node.js app, we're going to have a look at the routing. We're going to implement the basic routing to navigate between the schedule, the search for speakers, for the about page, and make a start on the API for making Ajax calls. So let's get to it. I've made a simple to-do list, and since we're in episode 2, this is what we're going to do. I have an index, this will be the schedule view, and I'm going to remove the user view because we don't need that. So let's start by having a look at the app.js. To get the routes to work, this we have to require them. So I just remove the users. So this index will load the index.js file that's in the routes folder into this property, and then it's used on this function. And this slash basically means the root. When navigating to this URL, the root, the index router is used. I'm going to add a second one. This will be speakers.js. And just to make my life a little easier, I've added a code snippet to start a new router file. In this case, I'm going to use slash as well, and that's because in here I'm going to copy this, rename it to speakers, load that file. But when I use it, I'm going to use it to navigate to speakers. So now when I use the URL slash speakers, this speakers router file is used, and this response is returned. Now I'm not going to go into bug this episode, but I am going to render a speakers file, which I'm going to add, and I'm going to copy the index for now. In a later episode, we're going to work on the design of the app and implement all the HTML. Today I only want to look at the routing. So now we have a speakers bug file. We have a speakers.js, which renders the speakers bug file and returns it. So let's see if this works. To my browser, I'm going to localhost. This is the root, still saying express. Let's change this. Index bug. Let's make this schedule. Let's restart to be sure. So now it should say schedule. I thought it would say schedule. The favicon is not used, and this is empty. Why is this empty? It's because this now it says schedule, and if I go to slash speakers, it says speakers. I'm going to do the same trick again for the about page. So it's an about page. I'm going to render about.bug. I'm going to add the view about.bug. I still had it in my clipboard, so that make it a bit easier for me. This one says about, and I have to add it to the app.js file. I have to load that file. I have to require that module. About and about. And then in here, I'm going to say when I navigate to about, I'm using that about router. So let's restart to make sure it's not cached. Now I should be able to navigate to about as well. Last thing I want to do is add the API for the AJAX calls. Another one is a bit different. Again, I'm going to add a new route. Let's call this data API.js. Router default. I'm going to do a get, but not on the root, but on speakers. And I want to pass in a parameter of name. So I'll explain what it does in a second. This one is going to return not a HTML file, but a piece of JSON. And for now, I'm just going to say speaker is the request param dot name. So now it will return a JSON object with the property speaker with the name I've passed in here. I don't have to add a view for this one because it's just an AJAX call. Well, it's a get request, but we can use an AJAX call to retrieve the data. But I do have to add it to the app.js file. Let's call it data API require slash routes slash data API, and then in here I want this to be at the API data API. Now let's restart and have a look if this works. So it's API slash speakers, and as you can see I did this before. So now when I go to speakers, I'm making a request to there and it returns speaker Timmy, which is me. So there we have a normal get for getting APIs, and one for HTML pages, and one for making AJAX calls too. And that's basically all there is to know about the routing for now. And I think this will be the entire routing for the app. I'm going to extend this API probably to make some different AJAX calls later, but it will be more of the same. So what did we do? We set up the routes, we added 4 views and returned them. And that's it for today. With that, I thank you for watching. You can check out my GitHub repository. The details are below the video. And next time we're going to have a look at bug, and hope to see you again next time. Have a great day.